Good evening everyone, welcome back to Tom Plays Factorio for Absolute Beginners. We are hopefully going to do nuclear power today. So, why is this not running? Advanced circuits. As per usual. I think it's an iron problem, so we possibly should be checking our iron mines. However, because it's going to seriously annoy me if I don't deal with it, I realised that I completely forgot to change the colour of the copper train up here. So, totally unimportant. But I'd like it to at least look a little bit coppery. That's pretty coppery. There we go. Looks a bit better at least. And while I am here, I can repair you and just check on the artillery shells. We have 5. Right. That's fine. Okay, it's all fine. Actually, we might have slightly more than 5 now because I did bring the artillery train up here. Right. So we need to work out what's going on with the iron. While our research finishes. Because yeah, this is an appalling lack of iron. Actually, I can probably check for the trains to start with. Oh, I see. Right, that makes sense. You're stuck there. Probably need to check that base out. Just thinking about restocking as well. At least a little. Right, take me back to the base you just left. Let's at least see if we can sort that one out, because it may be that that's the only actual problem. There we go. This one's going to run out almost straight away as well, but still determined. Did I get the... I did not. Still determined to get every last bit of iron. And I have a box for ammo somewhere. No, it doesn't matter, I don't have any. Oh, actually I do. I have some in my pistol. So it's just working out where I put the box. There you are. Better pick up some ammunition. No, we're there. So yeah, hopefully that was the only iron mine with serious problems, and while it was waiting stuck there, the others should have had time to accumulate more iron. So hopefully our iron supplies will be okay for a while now. Okay, for steel. Don't want to overdo it particularly. Okay, we're missing anything else. We've got gear wheels, we've got a spare assembling machine. I can't actually remember what the Kovarex process needs, but we will check that once it finishes the research. It should be any second now. I can't help noticing that the iron we're getting through here is still extremely slow. Am I going to need a second trade or something? And maybe it'd be worth trying to set up a northern one, because that would give us a second train by default. If I'm not seeing any particularly good iron mines up here, there's only this one. On the other hand, perhaps I should just not worry too much and be patient. I suppose if it's been stuck for a while, it's always going to take a bit of time for it to rebuild. Okay, Kovarex enrichment process is finally done. So we've got a recipe. Oh, we don't need that. It's this that we need. So it's a centrifuge that we're going to need to get this thing working. And I'm fairly sure we're going to need a whole bunch of splitters as well. So let me just make a bunch of those. Okay, I need a centrifuge, for which I need 100 concrete. It's a nice convenient amount. That will send us a bit low on iron and steel though. Oh yeah, we should start another research thing. Well, I suppose it kind of makes sense to do nuclear fuel reprocessing. Just for efficiency, as we're going to be starting this party going. Right, let me take the artillery train again. Because as always I'm worried about the coal mine running out of artillery shells. I'd like to have a nice solid backlog of them. Even though this doesn't technically take us to the right place. It just takes us to a place that's getting a lot of attacks. So I can do some repairs while I'm there. That is not a bad haul of artillery shells, I have to say. Yeah. Probably the last time I should worry about that artillery train. It's clearly fine. I suppose for this one. Oh no, actually we've got more room here, haven't we? Do I need this now? All this? I'm just thinking I'm a little low on power poles. Otherwise, yeah, I feel pretty good here. Nuclear fuel reprocessing finished already. Excellent. I think I might need it to do something that takes a bit longer. Tell you what, speed up your research, because that'll be useful later. Okay, so what was I thinking about this? Alright, Kovarex. It's either down there or over here. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of room over here. Okay. Let's try and set this up one way or another. Nope. Kovarex enrichment process. So it needs a lot of 235 and a little bit of 238. And it produces slightly more 235 than we put in. 41. So basically I want 40 of the 235 that comes out to go back in. So to start with, I have a couple of bulk processors. This one is going to be uranium 235. This one will be uranium 238. And put in a splitter. Might just do this with balanced splitters. So effectively, I'm going to want to refeed our U35 back in. So we are expecting it to produce 40. Technically 41, but 40. So with this splitter, 20 should go this way. Leaving us 20 here. With this splitter, 10 more should be siphoned off. That takes us to 30. With this splitter, 5 more should be siphoned off. Takes us to 35. So now we're going to get either 2 or 3. Let's assume the best and assume that we get 3. T10, 20, 30, 35, 38, 39. I feel like that's probably enough. Maybe I'll do one more. Best to be on the safe side. So that is 6 splitters in a row. Ooh, heck. And the rest of it can go to the actual nuclear fuel. Now the 235 I'm going to bring up here because our main feed for 235 is going to be this. Okay, now how is this going to work? Because I don't want this getting clogged up, do I? So actually maybe I should do the main feed there. Right. Okay, in theory that's ready to go. I can also put a feedback loop in for the 235. Probably not necessary because we produce that stuff quite often. while we're at it, we will also allow for 235 going this way. (238), sorry. So that's the 238 feed. 235 feed. Okay, so all of our 235s have been over here thus far. So we're now going to actually open this up. I'm assuming we're going to be using all of our 235s. Because I think generally it's the 238s that we use for other things. So here we go. So what we're hoping to see, essentially, is an absolute flood of 235 coming out of here. A little conscious that only one of our centrifuges is feeding this one. And how do we get around that? Honestly, it requires so comparatively little 238 anyway that I can probably test it. Am I safe carrying this stuff? I can probably test it by just shunting a load in there. There we go. So in theory, it has now started. We should end up with effectively a huge pile of 235 and 238, which can then go into our nuclear fuel production. And from here on out we should have a reliable, decent supply of both. So we can essentially rely on nuclear fuel. There we go. So most of the 235 is going back in. To keep the Kovarex process going. But on this occasion it's all gone back in. So probably did overdo it with 6. Doesn't really matter though, because these will all switch over. So yeah, that's working, so that should accumulate. Pretty sure this doesn't have a raison d'etre anymore. we go. Okay, I'm starting to feel like I did overdo it. 5 was probably sufficient. So I'm going to reduce this number to 5. I'm also going to find a way to reroute these. So in theory this is just collecting uranium-238 for anything else we might want to use it for, and there are things we can use it for, but at the same time, as things stand, my main interest is nuclear power. Like, if we use it for absolutely nothing else, I will be pretty happy. Because a reliable, abundant power supply is just so useful. Oh yeah, that's a point actually. I probably want it up there, don't I? Okay, as always, I'm going with the most convoluted, ridiculous setup possible. There you go. Try and make sense of that. Looks like we're getting there though, so that's good. Alright, so how did we have this set up? We had it set up so that they would both actually come in on a single line, just on different sides. Looks like this is actually set up to work now. Okay. So I guess I should do that then. Right. Yeah, I probably did overdo the making sure I had enough space here. Still, it's not like space is... Well, I was going to say it's not that much of a premium, but actually one of the first mistakes you can make is not giving yourself enough space in Factorio. So always happy to have it abundant. Right, so I've got loads of iron. Whether we have enough of this, I'm not sure. And also, while I think about it, let me just set up the other process. So in theory we're going to get spent fuel cells from every one of these. Oh right. Right, okay, I'd already set it up so that it wouldn't take them. That's fine then. We'll let it get on with making fuel cells. Doesn't have enough 238. Yeah, that was going to be a problem. It'll get there though. So in theory, this will produce spent ones. I think they all will. So I want the spent ones to come back down. Alright, hang on a minute. Need to be careful here because I might want to go all the way up. I'll send them up instead. Little reminder there to be very careful when playing on the train tracks. So this is really minor. We're just going to have a little centrifuge that will turn spent fuel cells into, I think, uranium-238, and we will feed them back in. But in the meantime, it's finally time. So it's going to take a while for this to warm up. A lot of it's about maintaining the temperature, which is why it's also potentially handy to put them next to each other because they will heat each other up. See, I think, well, the temperature needs to be 100 degrees, I guess, if we're doing water. Okay, apparently needs to be more than 100 degrees. $200 maybe? Nope, we're still low temperature. Suppose I thought I should probably look this up. Excuse me. And you take us to 300 degrees. Oh, min temperature 500, right, it says it right there. It's got to be 500 degrees Celsius. Fair enough. A little bit worried about the apparent lack of uranium-238 we've got coming in. This is the fuel going down. Oh, well, that's a single fuel cell and it's got 5 stocked and there are a few waiting outside. So yeah, I think we're doing fine, but we must make sure that we're at least making enough to keep this running steadily. So obviously the Kovarex process was because I was worried about uranium-235, but I'm not sure why we're getting so comparatively little uranium-238. I will check on that. I know it needs more, considerably more. But I thought, to the way I'd done it, should have tilted things quite a bit towards it. It might just be that it needs to fill up the feeds for the Kovarex machine, which barely needs any, but at the moment it's doing half and half or something. We'll check it. I think it'll be fine. I don't want to miss the power coming on though. Aha, no input fluid. Really? Oh. Oh, that's annoying. And there we are. So yeah, it might not show on the graph yet. Oh no, it does. There we go. No, hang on, that's consumption. Yeah, so that's just rising and rising. I guess we'll see where that gets us, but before then, I want to just make sure... Oh, this is better actually. Got quite a few 238s coming down the line now. Yeah, this is what I was thinking. I think it was slow because this was filling up. But I don't think that's going to be a problem anymore, because that's more or less full, so they should all go this way. And it is generally the 235 you need to worry about. So essentially we want this to be well stocked, so that's a spent one. So we need to actually get those being remade into 238, for which I'm going to need another centrifuge, for which I need concrete. But generally speaking, we're there. We have nuclear power. Finally. Which will effectively open the door to flying drones. Which is the main reason we're doing it. I mean, it'll be good anyway, because it'll mean that we no longer have a situation where everything slows down at night because we're out of power. As I needed concrete. Although while I'm here I could drop off some stone, because I think I've got some. But yeah, we should have a reliable, constant source of power now. Day or night, it doesn't matter. And hopefully we've got a pretty abundant amount of power, which is what we're going to need for the drones. because boy do those guys use power. So let me just... oh, brilliant. It's going to the right place. But yeah, given that if anything we seem to have a scarcity of uranium-238, getting this reprocessing process up and running would not be a bad thing. Okay, so... just need a nice centrifuge here. So it's this one, nuclear fuel reprocessing. Get productivity modules again, we're going to need to restock on those. So this is not going to be a high priority or fast process. So we need 5 of those and it produces 3 uranium-238. Yeah, this is kind of an afterthought, honestly. It's just an additional source of uranium-238. But it's not particularly effective. But it's still worth having in. So... oh. Oh, that's annoying. And probably by luck more than management, the side that has a uranium-238 on happens to be the side this is on, so I can just join it on without any additional concerns, which is good. But the main thing we need to keep an eye on is this. We want this to be as fully stocked as possible. So at the moment, we're going with a single nuclear power station. There's every chance we will end up making more of those, but hopefully we're producing enough nuclear fuel to keep this going forever, and this will gradually clog up. And everything else will clog up, and then everything will be happy. I'm not sure I want to hang around to test this. Pretty sure it's going to work. I think ideally we will now just return to the main base and assume that our power troubles are permanently fixed. We can go on to getting flying drones working, which will once again change absolutely everything. I'm just checking for repairs and also looking for the ammunition box. Okay, I'm not actually sure what I did then. Something stupid about the look of it. Yep. Dumped a radar, right. We have lost something. Okay, that is incredible. I cannot believe we're still losing that turret. Okay, right, fine. I guess that's something for us to check out. So this is still going well anyway, so at least half of our 238 is going over here. More than half, I think, because well, half of the ones from this and then half of the ones again are going to it. So yeah, I think we're loosely good. We'll come back to check on it in the future, but for now I'm going to assume that we have lots of power. Now it's interesting that that's still discharging at night. So apparently not producing enough power to not need our accumulators at all, which is interesting. I suppose to be fair, the solar does provide an awful lot of power. So yeah, we may need more of them. Right, so at least allegedly we've somehow managed to lose a turret on the west side of the base. Yeah, see, that's actually charging now. You check the graphs once it's all been running for a while. I don't understand how. Like, in theory they shouldn't really be able to do any kind of decent attack. Is it because they sort of sat there and attacking just this turret and we can't reach them or something? I suppose that's possible. Maybe I need to put some mines there. Because that's the other thing, once we've got flying drones, the mines will actually become a viable option. So we built those a very long time ago. Right, let me just check the iron mines up here and then I'm going to restock. So we might even call it a day because... Nope, they're fine. I'm guessing nuclear working was really the main thing we wanted to do. We got any stone? No, we've got some wood that we could do with dropping there, if possible. If I can just remember where my box of stuff we're not using is. It might be this. It is this. Have some wood. Okay. Right, so we managed to somehow run out of transport belts. That's always something. We've got plenty of walls. We've got one radar, which is meant for the copper mine in the northeast. Out of gear wheels. More iron plates. So advanced circuits. Okay. What else? Actually quite low on productivity modules. Or production modules, or whatever they're called. Productivity. And I want some of the medium power poles. I think that gets us fairly nicely restocked. So yeah, we could obviously check on iron. We've at least got some coming in. And we might be in a position to fire some of our artillery turrets now. There's a couple I think we haven't activated yet. And they will have been building up all this time. But yeah, the big news for today is the nuclear power. So how has this actually worked? Right, so it looks like the nuclear power is the green one. Well, that's not good. No, that can't be right, surely. Why has that gone down to 0? I think this is the coal. Solar accumulators. Oh, that's interesting. Right, so it looks like... Yeah, so this is the power... It looks like the nuclear goes up as the solar goes down. Interesting. It's like it's automatically compensating. I suppose probably the best indication of what's happened would be the accumulator charge, because we did see them discharging a little, but only a little. So generally speaking, this is, you know, they're full. We're not having to rely on our battery power. So we can probably afford to keep raising the power we use until we see this start to drop more, until we see it start to drop to 0. At that point we may need to consider a new nuclear power station. Seriously wondering about our iron production here. Maybe we need like a second train or something. Oh well, right, well we will consider that later on. But for now I'm going to leave it there. So yeah, nuclear power. The sky is the limit now. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.